First of all, a very good evening to all the participants. I'm really happy to be back again with GIBS IRE Talks. So I'm Sandeep Bansali from the team GIBS Business School, Bangalore. Today, we all are connected as a part of GIBS IRE Talks. The GIBS IRE Talks forum brings together the inspirational speakers to connect us and share their thoughts on innovation, research, and entrepreneurship. Today's topic is practical approach to risk management. And the keynote speaker is Dr. Soumendra K. Das. Sir is an Associate Vice President, Risk Management Group from the Risk Management Department, Africa Finance Corporation, which has the headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and being here, taking out time from your busy schedule. Thank you so much for that. And I would also love to welcome all the participants on behalf of the entire GIBS family. Please allow me to share a few thoughts about GIBS before we begin. GIBS Business School Bangalore is a place where talents are nurtured, ambitions cherished, ideas shared, and dreams fulfilled. GIBS Business School Bangalore is a part of Royal Educational Trust, which is an exclusive business school. GIBS offers PGDM program, which is an AICTE approved, and BBA from Bangalore University. Once again, we are really happy and glad to inform that GIBS has been recently ranked as 5th best B school, emerging B school by Times of India, and 9th best B school for BBA placements by Times of India 2022. To prepare its students for success, GIBS has designed the Industry 4.0 curriculum and introduced a unique number of programs such as Innovation Research Entrepreneurship Program, Sports Management Certification Program, GIBS Finishing School, and so on and so forth. Another significant milestone for GIBS is being that we have been recently ranked as the best emerging B school published by Competitive Success Review. And it has also been ranked 12th best top in eminence category. And not only this, we have also been ranked 11th best B school in India in the recent times. So I would love to extend my warm greetings to Dr. Soumendra K. Das, the resource person of today's IRE Talks. Sir, it is really grateful that you have accepted our invitation, and it's my honor to introduce you to the distinguished audience. Dr. Das is currently associated with Africa Finance Corporation's headquarters at Nigeria. AFC is a leading multinational financial institution created by African sovereign states to provide pragmatic solutions to Africa's infrastructure deficit in a challenging operating environment. He looks after the credit risk function of the corporation. Prior to this, Dr. Das has used his work for African Development Bank Group as a principal credit officer for about long tenure during from 2009 to 2021. And he has played a very, very critical role in the various key infrastructure projects in the continent of Africa. He was also responsible for identifying the key investment challenges and delivered innovative solutions to manage international risks. He has been responsible for designing and execution of various risk management products and solutions that addresses the risk issues. He is currently non-executive or the independent board member of various business enterprises. He is also member of various subcontinent committees of Africa, Private Equity and Venture Capital Association. He is a rating committee member of CARE Ratings, Africa and Mauritius. He is also the board member of Arise, Mauritania, South Africa. In terms of his academic interest, he has been invited to deliver lectures on various leading B schools throughout the globe. To name a few, it's IDA Business School, Barcelona, IQS School of Management, which is again in Barcelona, Universidad de Monterrey, Mexico, PG Institute of Management, Colombo, and many more. By qualification, Sir has done a lot of degrees and certifications. Postgraduate, the fellowship from Hangwon University, Seoul, PhD, Banking and Finance from Gujarat University, India, Prince 2, that's from Alox, UK, CP3P, that's APMG International, MFT Boulder Institute of Microfinance from New York, USA, Applied Business Analytics from ISB Hyderabad, Master of Arts, that's in the Applied Economics from Utkal University, MPhil in Econometrics, International Expert in SME Finance from Frankfurt School of Finance, and Management. Sir, I'm extremely sorry. I beg a pardon. I would love to cut down your profile since it's really long. So just I would request all the participants, in case if you have any questions, any things, any doubts, you can just put it in the Q&A. Probably we'll just take it at the end of the sessions. So without waiting much ado, uh, I would love to hand it over to you, sir. So over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sandeep. Please let me know if my voice is reaching you guys, and am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're absolutely audible, sir. Your audio is completely fine, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Also, the spectacular achievements of GIBS in Bangalore. I'm so happy to know about the achievements of GIBS. I was not knowing anything about GIBS, so I'm so enlightened about the achievements, spectacular achievements of GIBS. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to interact with you on the practical approach to risk. I will take more or less 40 to finish my presentation, and while making to maximize or optimize the bandwidth that is available. And but after the presentation, I will again open my video. So without wasting much time, let us get into my presentation straight away. So I will just focusing on the what are the risk management, the meaning of risk management, and what we are going to discuss now in next 40-45 minutes time, and then probably we will keep it open for the Q&A sessions. So once again, a very good evening, everyone, and welcome to my presentation. Let me start by saying a few words about my own background relating to my risk management career in Africa. A general idea on Africa is that Africa is a very difficult place to live and a very difficult place to pursue a professional career because people think that it is due to a lot of challenges that Africa throws to us. And even for this particular opportunity at African Development Bank, when I got the call for interview, my wife did not allow me to visit Africa for appearing my job interview. But I did not feel to lose the opportunity, as I knew this would be a very rewarding career, because normally people go US and Europe. Hardly people from India, they will venture to Africa to start the professional career. So I pleaded the recruiter to organize my interview through VC. And luckily, the African Development Bank, the recruiters, they agreed to have the VC and to interview me. Opportunity to a risk manager. Now I am associate vice risk management, and in a very, international organization, that is Africa Finance Corporation. And so rest is the history. So in summary, I took the risk and I'm rewarded. So I no regret venturing into Africa. So what is the agenda for this evening? So the agenda of my presentation is, I will try to cover what is risk management, why risk management is needed, what are the risk mitigating strategies, and what is the risk heat map, and the risk categories, and how to do the risk transfer. So this slide, I'm trying to explain that what exactly risk is. So risk is an uncertain event which may occur in the future, because future is so uncertain, so we don't know what is going to happen in the next moment. So if you do business, if you in your personal life, we don't know what is going to happen in the next moment. So these uncertain events may prevent or it may delay the achievements of an individual or if of an organization's goal. So a risk is not certain. We can estimate its likelihood of occurrence using concept of probability. I know that you must be knowing the concept of probability and how the probability can be used to assess the risk management. That we are going to cover in next couple of slides. The assurance that taking a chance is worthwhile even without knowing the outcome. So it's also the belief that if we value and support the risk in policy, in community, in culture, so you actually support this. Why? Because we know that we are going to be rewarded. So every entrepreneur takes a risk before starting its own initiatives. So there are thousands of examples. Even if you see on cricket ground, now the match is over. So on cricket ground, the captain takes the risk of batting first or fielding first after winning the toss. So you can do a lot of analysis retrospectively after the events have occurred. But how to take the risk, how to take a decision after you win the toss, whether you should go for batting or you should go for bowling. So you take a risk there. Even our Prime Minister Modi took the risk after declaring the demonetization in India. So now, what are the risks? I mean, there were definitely some risks, and he took a decision that from such and such date, this currency is going to be demonetized. And if you see, UK took risk by deciding to go in favor of Brexit. So that's another example. Now we can do a lot of analysis whether UK should have gone in favor of Brexit or it should have been continued to be a part of Euro area or Eurozone. So there are so many incidents, events we have come across in our life. So, but all risks are not bad. There are positive outcomes of a risk and there are negative outcomes of risk. So, I mean, what are the positive outcomes of risk? Anyway, so that we'll discuss in the next slide. So now, what is risk management? What is the alternative of risk management? It is crisis management, and we all know that crisis management is more expensive than risk management. Ukraine wanted to be a member of NATO and expressed its interest to become a member of NATO. And since it expressed its interest to become a member of NATO, and it did not assess the risk properly and did not manage the risk. Now there is a war in Ukraine since February. So for last 9 months, there is a crisis in Ukraine because they did not assess the risk well. So since you don't assess the risk, you have a crisis. Now what do? You manage the crisis. So Ukraine and this crisis management has become very expensive. I mean, you see, for last 9 months, there is continuous war in Ukraine. Lives are lost, destructions all over in the country. So now you see this is the crisis, and that how much billions of dollars is required to rebuild Ukraine. Nobody knows. Billions of dollars coming from World Bank, International Monetary Fund to rebuild Ukraine, and this is all about crisis management. So the steps Ukraine should have followed. What are the steps Ukraine should have followed? Identify risks, rank those risks, address those risks in priority, and monitor these risks and report to United Nations Security Council. I mean, where people are going, when there are two countries, they're fighting or there is a war. So who is there to take a call? It is United Nations Security Council. So now they are going to United Nations Security to call for a ceasefire, but this is too late. Now coming to this slide. Now, how does Elon Musk manage risk? I know that you must be knowing Elon Musk. So now Elon Musk is a risk taker or not? Does Elon Musk create safety nets or not? if you see Elon Musk, his activities, his actions, his decisions, his if you see his personal life, I mean, basically he risks his personal life, even his personal time, his personal health to see what? To see his dreams become realities. His willingness to make large personal investments is what sets him apart from other entrepreneurs and makes him so successful. Now, if you see Musk, I mean, his ability to handle stress complements his high risk tolerance is really praiseworthy. This means he doesn't create any safety nets for himself should he fail. This mindset, basically, for Elon Musk, has given him an edge in his professional life. He is willing to risk everything, his money, his possessions, his health, and so on and so forth. And what to make? I mean, to make his vision a reality. So most people would find what Elon Musk risks to be extremely stressful, what he sees it as necessary in order to achieve his goal. So as an entrepreneur, he is willing to invest all of his time and money into his business and for the possibility of even bigger gains. And if you see, he was just starting out with his second venture. He put $12 million into XCOM, that is Spacecom, making him the biggest shareholder of his new company. And Musk's personal investment was different from most entrepreneurs at the time who would invest a lot of money and then use their new wealthy status to convince other people to invest in their next venture instead of making a large personal investment themselves. But if you see, many guys like, Gates Foundation, if you see these international investors, they first create some investment, they get success, and they try to use their clout, their name, their reputation to build another one. But if you see Elon Musk is completely different guy. I mean, if you see, he started Tesla, he started XCOM. Now he has taken over Twitter, social media. So what I'm trying to say, I mean, even that was a kind of, it's not a hostile takeover, but it is close to that. I mean, he paid out $44 billion to take over a social media company, that is Twitter. So when Elon Musk starting his companies, he invested almost all of his money into his ventures. When both SpaceX and Tesla had financial problems in 2008, Musk sold his car and other possessions for extra money so he could keep the companies afloat. Very few entrepreneurs you come across, they sell their personal assets to keep the companies afloat. And Elon Musk is one of them. He risks more than most people would in his position. While Musk faced the possibility of losing everything, his hard work paid off, and he has seen a great reward from the risk he took from SpaceX to Tesla and now Tesla to Twitter. So he paid, as I said, $44 billion to take over. So Twitter is a social media company and they're completely unrelated business that he is venturing into. So what I'm trying to say here, that he took risk and he has become the richest person in the world today. His net worth is $197 billion. And you guess what is his age? He's just around 51, 52. So around 51, 52, he has gathered $197 billion. That is his personal net worth. So then, I mean, he took risk and that's why he got rewarded. Now, but why risk management is required? Is it really required? Yes, risk management is required. As we know, our wants are unlimited and resources are limited. We need to use the resources optimally to get the best out of limited resources. Anyone who is here with us today, having limited wants and having having everything in your life that you aspire for. Can you tell me a single person today attending this webinar that he has achieved all his desires? He doesn't have any unfulfilled wants. I don't think I will get one. In some, even some jurisdictions, some countries, some business, you have to have risk management department, and this is a legal requirement, particularly for financial institutions, banks, hospitals, any manufacturing companies have risk management, and this is a legal requirement in different countries, different sovereigns. So you cannot avoid, even if you want to avoid, you can avoid. So you have to have a risk management unit, and you know the benefits. So let us identify the risks in terms of opportunities and threats. Now, for example, a cyclist, a guy who is using his bicycle from the campus to his office, the work. So what are the threats? The threats are, due to cycling, the threats are physical injury, death, reputation, financial expense, damage or theft of the cycle, and weather issues. So these are the threats. And what are the opportunities? Opportunities are, due to cycling, you do exercise, you have good health, you get fresh air, provided you are avoiding the congested traffic. Then you create a reputation. You have financial savings. You become a role model, and you leave a positive impact on environment because you don't create the vehicular pollution. So what are the mitigating strategies? I mean, for the threats, I mean, opportunities, I can understand. People are happy about the opportunities, but what are the threats? We know these are the threats, but how to mitigate those threats? We can use some instrument or some methods or some process to mitigate those threats. Now, death is a threat if you do the bicycling on the street. So how to avoid? Use helmet. If you use helmet, or if you put on bright clothes, if you have lights, if you have bells, and if you obey traffic rules and you stay alert, then you avoid the threat, that is death threat. Now, what is reputation? What is the threat around the reputation? I mean, if you have to wear gear, I mean, you have to wear great biking outfits, or you openly promote alternative transportation. In terms of financial threats, yes, we get some benefits. What are the benefits? Inexpensive transportation, and you avoid traffic, you avoid some diseases which you get because of polluted air. So in terms of damage or theft, what is how to mitigate the risk? Adopt regular maintenance of the cycle, know the route, avoid obstacles and things that puncture tires, and use high quality locks. Then you can avoid the damage or theft to your bicycle. In terms of weather issues, how do you mitigate that risk? So yes, that also can be mitigated, provided you carry filled in water bottles, or you put on warm clothes or waterproof clothes and gloves. So you take care of the threats coming from the bad weather. So in a nutshell, if you are wearing seat belt, for example, you are driving a car at 120 kilometer per speed per hour, and you are wearing the seat belt. So wearing a seat belt while you are driving a car, that doesn't guarantee you will not meet with an accident. But imagine if you meet with an accident with your seat belt on, then the damage will be less. And probably Cyrus Mistry would have been alive with us today. So there is no guarantee that if you wear seat belt, there will be accident or there will be no accident. But question is, if you wear seat belt and you meet with an accident, your damage is minimum. So at the end of the day, we take some risk. I mean, it's not that we manage all the risk, but we have to manage, we have to take some risk. So what is that risk that we are taking? That is residual risk. I mean, you cannot manage, you cannot do business where you manage the risk to zero. I mean, you have to have some risk. I mean, you are doing business. Now the residual risk, basically, the risk that you have to take along with you even after adopting mitigating measures, and that is called your residual risk. I mean, you have all these controls, you manage your risk, but you cannot minimize it to zero. So whatever risk remains, that is called residual risk. And because of risk mitigating measures, we increase opportunities and decrease threats in our activities. At the end of the day, as entrepreneur, we need to take some risk for which we get return on investment. And I mean, you expect ROI. I mean, if there is no risk and you manage the risk to zero, then why you expect ROI? We expect ROI because we take some residual risk. Simple example could be when we all keep our money with the bank, we expect interest to be paid by the banks. Do we take any risk there? When we put our money in the savings bank account in some commercial banks, do we take any risk? Yes, we take some risk. What is the risk? The risk is that wherever you are keeping the money in any bank and that bank becomes insolvent, or the bank is unable to return our money, or the bank loses its banking license and disappears from banking business, then we lose our money. So that means we take some risk there. So when we keep money in the bank, we expect some return, and that is interest rate. So now that interest rate is the reward for putting money in the bank. Now, before addressing the risk issues and concerns, we need to assess the impact and the likelihood of risk events. If you are doing any business, and the generic risks are basically, for example, let's say construction of the plant, getting right machines, getting good equipments, getting experienced and qualified staff to run the machines and the company, sourcing quality raw materials, fixing the supplier to supply without any delays. Demand for your product should always keep rising. Competitors' presence in the market should be minimum, and they are not very aggressive. And I mean, these are the kind of risks that normally we experience when we start our business. Now, even there are some risks coming from the regulators. Now, what is that regulators risk? If the government increases corporate tax, impacts your profit. So now we need to classify all these risk factors in terms of their likelihood of occurrence and corresponding impact on your business. Now, so now with impact, let me go to the heat map. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm just putting a kind of 2 by 2 matrix. On the x-axis, you have likelihood of the occurrence of any risk event, and the y-axis you have the impact of those risk events. Now, if you see the area shaded green, it actually reflects that the risk events likelihood is low and impact is also low. The area shaded red, it reflects that the risk events likelihood is high and impact is also high. So now, what is the impact? The impact is basically, if you see the area shaded green, it actually reflects that the risk events likelihood is low and impact is also low. The area shaded red, it reflects that the risk events likelihood is high and impact is also low. The area shaded in red, that zone of risk event is very high, and impact is also high. And this the zone that is shaded in yellow color, it explains that the likelihood of the occurrence of the risk event is moderate and impact is also moderate. Now, as the risk manager, your focus should be where? Your focus should be in the red zone, because those risk events you have to prioritize and target and try to find out the methods to mitigate those risks, because the probability of the occurrence of the event is very high and the impact is also very high. So you have to classify which risk you have to tolerate and which risks are to be terminated or substituted. For example, having insurance, you can protect the plant and machines and equipments even. Regarding corporate tax, you have to tolerate, because you cannot do the business and you say that, look, you will not give the corporate tax. So that is not possible. So you have to, certain risk you have to terminate, certain risk you have to manage, certain risk you have to tolerate. Competition from others, you may enter. How to manage the competition? You can manage the competition risk if you enter some kind of offtake agreement with potential buyers. Suppose you are supplying milk or bread or whatever. Suppose you are entering into some kind of agreement with the counterparties that they will buy certain kilos or certain liters of milk or certain kilos of rice from you or certain packets of biscuit from you every day, and at what price. They decide everything and you enter into an agreement. So then what happens here? You manage the competition risk, because suppose the agreement is for 10 years. That means for 10 years, you are locking the price. You are fixing the price of the product that you are going to sell. So come what may, tomorrow or after 5 years, you don't care, because your price is your fixed, your quantity is fixed, and your customer is fixed. So you can manage the competition risk. Even you can also manage the cost. How you can manage the cost? You have to again enter into some kind of agreement with the input suppliers. And if you input suppliers, if you have a procurement agreement that, look, I'm going to buy this much of mustard or this much of wheat or this much of rice every month at this price. That means again, you are managing the cost. So what I'm trying to say, that there are ways where you can manage some risk, because there are different methods. Like, as I told you, offtake agreement, supply agreement. So you can manage competition, but corporate tax, you cannot do anything. You have to just tolerate. Now, so this slide, basically you have to put your risk factors in this box and see which risk factors are falling in the red zone, which risk factors are falling in yellow and green zone. So your focus should be the risk factors falling in the red. Now this you have to, again, as I already mentioned, that you have to classify those risk factors in terms of impact and the likelihood, and then you have to rank those risk factors. Then you have to classify which risk you have to terminate, which risk you have to substitute, and which risk you have to just tolerate. Now, what are the types of risk normally the entrepreneur can face or may face? So basically, I'm just classifying, various risk factors under three different broad or the large heads. The first one is the financial risks, and these financial risks are basically coming from where? It's coming from poor cash flow management, lack of value for money, or poor budgeting, etc. So these are the basically areas where you have to focus if you want to manage risk. Risk basically coming from, let's say, failure in information technology system, or poor quality of service delivered, or lack of succession planning. Lack of succession planning is basically we normally see family-run business in India, and we don't really see the clear-cut succession planning, and we see basically in the family-run business in India that there is no clear-cut succession planning, and health and safety risks, staff skill levels. So these are the few factors create the source of operational risk. And the next one is most important, but people normally underestimate, that is reputational risk. So staff involved in criminal activities or owners of the business caught in tax evasion, or the owners of the business are involved in some corruption activities, or company involved in some unethical practices. So these are the examples of reputational risks. Now, let me tell you one thing here, that if you have financial risk and you lose money, then there is opportunity to get money back. But in terms of reputational risk, if you do a blunder and you are caught, then you lose reputation. But the challenge is you cannot get the reputation back. So that is why it is very, very, very sensitive. I mean, there is no value attached to this reputational risk, but it is very important for running any successful business. So as an entrepreneur, you need to be very careful about managing your reputational risk. If you do not manage this risk, the company will not run for a long time with making significant profits. Nowadays, a lot of companies, a lot of banks, they go for, what do you call it, CIBIL score. And the CIBIL score, they try to find out whether you have taken some money from some bank and you have defaulted. So if you have defaulted, so they give you very, very low credit score. And if you have not defaulted, they give you high credit score. And the credit score is basically very, very key factor to decide whether you get the loan or you don't get the loan. And if you get the loan, at what interest rate you will get the loan. So that's why I'm saying, the reputational risk is very important and very delicate. Now, risk may emanate from poor governance structure or lack of compliance with the regulators' requirements. So therefore, you need to have a strong governance and experienced board to oversee the performance of the company. I mean, family-run business, they really don't care to ask anyone because they run the business, they start the business, so they know, or they think that they know everything. So very unlikely that they really have a very clear-cut governance structure. So if your family-run business goes to the bank will be reluctant to give the money because they will ask you, what is the governance structure, whether you have independent director on the board or not. There's a lot of questions, and whether your decisions are based on the professional knowledge and information, or you are becoming emotional. They're emotionally driven business. So they really don't apply the professional knowledge or skill. Rather, they apply more of emotional factors to take a decision. So if you see that professional run business, they go to the bank, and bank will more likely to get a loan than the family run business. So what I'm trying to say here, that there should be a well managed governance structure, and that should be independent director on the board to see the overall performance of the company. There should be a segregation of duties and job description in any organization. So as an entrepreneur, you need to comply with the regulators requirement, with the financiers terms and conditions, and also you need to comply with legislations, local legislations. So these are the few things that you have to be very, very careful. Now, I will just focus 5 minutes on how the risk can also be managed as an organization, as an entity. Now, I've already mentioned something like, insurance. Now, these are few credit enhancement instruments that you see on the slide. As an entrepreneur, if you approach a bank will charge you very high interest rate, and they will also charge you high level interest rate because they consider that you are a high risk borrower. Since you do not have, deep pocket, you don't have a successful track record in the business. So the new business normally considered as high risk entrepreneurs, high risk business. So the banks will be disinterested to give money to the new businesses. So then from where you get the money? From the venture capitalists or the seed money providers, the private equity entrepreneurs or the managers. They also manage fund, and they encourage the entrepreneurs to test a new concept. They also give you a lot of money to test the new concept or new product in a new market. So they take a lot of risk. Now, why they do all these kind of things? Because venture capitalists are the group of people, they love to take risk. At the same time, they expect high returns. I mean, if you get money from the bank will get 8 to 10% or 14% return. But if the venture capitalist gives you money and they become the partner in the business, then in 2 years or 3 years of time, they double the money. So they get 100% return in 2-3 years. So what you need to do is use credit enhancement instruments. So what are the credit enhancement instruments? Get a guarantee from influential guarantor. Suppose you know influential guy or influential society or influential company, or even your influential uncle or brother or sister, whoever is there in your family, in your known circle, you can take a personal guarantee, and that personal guarantee can be leveraged when you apply a fresh loan to any bank, and bank will definitely consider those guarantees, and they will consider you credit for the individual, and you get a loan at a significantly lower interest rate. Now, even there are some funds like, in Africa, if I bring my African experience here, there is a fund called Africa Guarantee Fund. Now, Africa Guarantee Fund, AGF, they give lot of guarantee to SMEs, small and medium entrepreneurs. And when the small and medium entrepreneurs go to a bank, suppose they go to Barclays Bank, when they go to Barclays Bank to apply for a loan, they need a guarantee because they are new in the market. Nobody knows them. So Africa Guarantee Fund gives a guarantee that, look, I know this gentleman, and you give this money. And if this gentleman doesn't give the money back, I will give the money. So Barclays will consider that guarantee, and Barclays will give you the fund. So there are a lot of guarantee funds available in India. So get your business insured. I mean, you have to do the insurance of your business. Great if you have a credible buyers, credible suppliers, and you have contractual agreement with different stakeholders in the business, you will definitely get a guarantee. Now, Africa Guarantee Fund is one example, European Union another example. Even in India, you can consider SIDBI is another example. So these have issued several guarantee schemes from time to time to cover the potential loss. If you don't return the money to the bank, then these entities will cover the loss. So these are few situations or scenarios where you can make the bankers attracted to your business plan, and they take the risk in financing your business. So before I end my presentation, I must say one thing, that in life, no risk, no reward. I mean, if you don't take any risk, you don't get any reward in life. So you have to take risk. Suppose you are a leader. If you fail, then you learn lessons, and those lessons, people will come to you to learn those lessons from you, and you can charge. So you will, these are the basically consultants. I mean, I'm sorry to say that word. So because of the want of better words, I'm using the word consultant. A lot of experience, and that can be in consulting fees. So you will, if you take risk, you get reward. If you don't get reward, you become consultant, you get consulting. So what I'm trying, you will surely feel a sense of significant accomplishments, though it looks scary at the beginning. Of course, I mean, if you take any risk, it will look very scary at the beginning, but it is very fulfilling. It is very, sense of accomplishment you will get. It will increase your confidence. It will open up new opportunities, and most importantly, you will build strong resilience for ultimate success in life. And that's the example I'm now sitting in front of you. People from India hardly take this kind of risk, go and work for international organizations in Africa. They feel Africa is full of animals loitering, moving around openly in the middle of the street. That is not the case. Seeing is believing. So if you have not seen, don't believe any hearsay things in life. So thank you so much for your undivided attention. It was a really great pleasure talking to you today. Once again, I thank the organizers for giving me this great opportunity to interact with you guys. Thank you so much. And with this, I finish my presentation.
Thank you so much, Doctor. The reason is you've been really punctual on the time part. I must acknowledge on that. So thank you so much for that. But one thing, as Mark Zuckerberg always says, he says that the biggest risk itself is not to take the risk. So as you rightly mentioned in that, so I'm really happy to know a lot of things about the risk management. So we have few of the questions which probably if you give me permission to take down, I'll just read out the questions for you so that we can just take few of the questions, sir.
Okay, please.
Doctor, this has been asked by a student, I believe. Sir, I'm Mainak Ray. My question is, what components of risk management plan? What are the components of a risk management plan?
Risk management plan.
Yes, sir.
So first of all, you have to identify the risk. I mean, that's the first step. I mean, any business idea that you have or any opportunity that you have to think what could be the risk factors. So identify the risk. That's the first step in risk management. Identify the risk. Then second one is quantify the risk, because if you cannot measure, you cannot manage. So you have to quantify the risk, identify the risk, quantify the risk. And if you remember my the box that I put there with 3 different colors, you have to prioritize which risk is in which zone. You have got the red zone, yellow zone, and green zone. So you have to prioritize to those risks. So now so first you identify, then quantify, then prioritize. The next is one, how to mitigate those risks. You cannot mitigate all the risks. So you have to find out, as I told you, you have to have insurance cover. You have to have a contractual agreement with your buyers and sellers. So if you have contractual agreement with different stakeholders, you manage the risk. So you have to you are bringing down the risk. So what are you doing? You are managing the risks. So in the end, you have not brought down level, because there is some risk. So that is called residual risk. Now you have to see that residual risk and what reward you are getting. Do they match? I mean, are you happy with that? Whatever residual risk you are taking and whatever returns you are getting. If you're happy, then plunge into it, get into it, and manage it, and do with the business. But after you do the business, you have to monitor the risk. So that is called risk monitoring, which will continue till the end of. I hope I have answered those questions.
Thank you so much, sir. Rightly, as you rightly said, we need to mitigate the risk. And in the similar lines, as you said about the insurance, Mr. Jay Kumar Surya Narayan is asking, life insurance covers death, general insurance covers damage. and accidents for businessmen. It also covers losses. Perhaps insurance is the best risk management. Do you agree, sir?
Yes, I mean insurance is best, but you don't get, you cannot cover all the business risk managed by insurance companies, because as you mentioned, accident is covered, death is covered, health is covered. These are not the business. It's not about business. Business, suppose you are selling, let's say, you're selling biscuit or edible oil, and edible oil is not sold, biscuit is not sold. So you don't get revenue. If you don't get revenue, you don't get profit. If you don't get revenue, you don't get profit, you cannot give the money back to the banks. So the insurance doesn't cover that. So, but insurance really is a method to manage the risk, or the risk can be brought down significantly by having proper insurance. But insurance is not all, as I said.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, sir. Ms. Shanti Kumari asked, what tools or methods do we use that are effective for management risk in your business?
Methods, I told you that, that there are, suppose, for example, you are doing a business and you don't know whether you will make profit or loss. Then you find a partner. A partner is having a lot of interest, like a venture capitalist. So in a lighter vein, I'm saying that friends, family, you start doing your business. Friends, families, and fools should be around you, and they will be your shock absorber. I mean, whenever you are in depression, you are in loss, these three F's will come forward and help you. So always have these three F's around you, and then you have other techniques how you manage the risk. I've already explained in my presentation.
That's really nice, sir. I must say that everybody must have these three F's. So I'm sure in every situation they're going to help you out, whether good or bad. So moving ahead with the next question, sir. It has been asked by Pavitra. She says, how can entrepreneurs better assess and manage risk?
Yeah, exactly. So you have to have a strong business acumen. I mean, when you have to scan the business very well. I mean, you have to see who are the potential stakeholders in your business. It could be supplier, it could be buyer, it could be regulator, it could be country, it could be, again, as I said, country, because, you have a very good concept, very good idea, lot of money, but countries, let's say, Somalia. So will you take the money with your talent, with your skill, and do business in Somalia? Answer is unlikely. Why unlikely? Because the place is not good. Because it's not well managed country. If the place is not well managed, the country is not well managed, who will take the risk? So, I mean, it comes with experience, and when you start doing your business, you have to talk to the financiers, and financiers will give you, please get me ABC. When they give you ABC, that is starting point. I mean, why the financier is asking you, give me ABC? So you see that they will ask you the land. Do you have a land? Do you have money? Do you have skill? Do you have talent? Do you have judicial, established judiciary? So the bankers will ask so many questions. From that, that's a starting point. Because if I give my money to do a business with you, I will ask you, what is your family background? Where you live? What is your educational qualification? How much money you have your bank account? What is your experience in Karnataka or Odisha or Kerala or Tamil Nadu? So why I ask these questions? Because this is what I want to check. Before I give my money, I have to see that whether I have confidence in you or not. So, and suppose you have everything, but the product doesn't work. So you have to see product, you have to see price, you have to see place. These are all 4 P's of marketing. So those things you have to really scan, and then you conclude whether you have to do business or not. I mean, these are risks can come from anywhere. So it's very difficult to limit. These are the only 10.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I'm sure the people who are on the entrepreneurs or the businessmen should be ready to take up any kind of risk which comes their way. And that's what the entrepreneurship is known about. So that's really nice of you, sir. Thank you
Exactly.
so much. Just last couple of questions we'll take up, sir. So one, Mr. Anand Kumar Tiwari asked, what type of risk can come to start up an online shopping?
See, when you talk about online shopping, first one is coming to my mind. I'm not expert in online shopping, but first thing comes to my mind is that technology. How robust your technology is. What is the bandwidth of your internet? Whether the network is reaching everybody's house or not. So first is technology. When you do anything online, the first and foremost requirement is whether you have 3G, 4G, or 5G. What is the bandwidth of your network? Then what is the rules and regulations around that network business? Because the government they sell the spectrum. So you have to give lot of money as licensing fee to buy the spectrum. So if you don't have that kind of customers that is assured of, you cannot invest that kind of money and give to government to get the spectrum license. So the first and foremost requirement is what you are selling, what price, who are your customers, and how strong your technology. I mean, how robust your technology is. So these are the 4-5 factors comes to my mind when you talk about online shopping or marketing, whatever you said, online business or e-commerce.
E-commerce, basically, we call it as. Thank you so much, sir. We'll take just last one more question, sir. How do we overcome if we have to face a huge loss in financially? Basically, how to overcome the huge financial losses?
I mean, the damage is done, right? So if the damage is done, then what you can do, you have to read the government rules and regulations word by word. I mean, there are some benefits the government gives you if you declare that your company is bankrupt. Now, if you have a loan, bank loan, outstanding bank loan more than 10 crores, then Government of India will help you. That is a cell called National Insolvent Companies Board. I'm not very correct in terms of, but there is one insolvency board under Ministry of Corporate Affairs, or you have to just Google bankruptcy board, insolvency board in India, Government of India. So what they do, they also please here. So that service you can get from the government, that nobody can take over your company, to avoid hostile takeover. So you don't have to go to the court. You don't have to, suppose you have taken money from the Bank of Baroda, you are unable to return money to Bank of Baroda. So Bank of Baroda cannot take you to the court if you approach this bankruptcy or insolvency board. So they will help you, provided there's a clause that if you have outstanding loan amounting more than 10 crores of rupees. So what am I doing here? I'm just giving you ways that how your loss can be minimized. Suppose your 10 crores is outstanding, you have to give 10 crores. Of India, give to 2 crores, not 10 crores. So you minimize your loss again. So basically you have to read rules and regulations in the countries, because these corporate laws vary from country to country. So there is no unique answer to this question.
Great, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for that. I'm sure if anybody is into the financial losses, I'm sure they have to do a lot of research how to come out of it. So there's no simple answer for such a huge losses or risk. And on a lighter note, I must say, in India, they say getting married itself is rather a risk, or mitigating the risk is, again, they take it on themselves. So it's up to them that do they take it risk as an opportunity or as a threat. So as you rightly said, sir, all risks are not bad or not even good. Right. So thank you so much, sir. I would. It's my I would say it's really privileged to moderate this webinar when we have such amazing people with you who have been well versed in overall in the national and international arenas. So we are really happy to have you amongst us, and thank you so much for joining and taking the time for GIBS and for all our audiences. So I would like to extend my gratitude towards you, sir, for being here. Thank you so much. And I would also like to thank all the participants for being such responsive all throughout the webinar. And they are always been very active and supportive in terms of being online with us throughout the webinars. So I would welcome you all to visit our state-of-art facility at GIBS campus. Sir, any day you're there in Bangalore, we would love to welcome you also and host you at GIBS. So do come down anytime you're there in India or Bangalore, please do come in. So we would love to welcome you. And one small information for all the participants, that this webinar will also be live on YouTube in GIBS channel, probably within the next 2 to 3 working days. So you can, in case if you've missed out on anything, you can always refer back and resolve your queries. At the same time, the next webinar is on 18th of this month, and that's by Ms. Shikha Nag, who is the founder and director of Indian Academy of Public Speaking, author and a TEDx speaker. And the topic is how entrepreneurs can use design thinking. So till then, we would love to see you again as soon as possible. And Dr. Das, it was really amazing having you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving such an amazing information on this.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. It's a pleasure talking to you and everybody. So such amazing people that you all are. So, and it's very interesting questions you have raised. So I'm so happy, and definitely I will be visiting your campus next opportunity that I'll be in India. Thank you so much and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Please take care of yourself and keep smiling. Thank you.